Good morning, everybody.
God.
Garnet
Yes.
Dupuis, welcome.
Thank you.
Good night.
And,
Good night for you.
Good night for you. Good, very
everybody
early morning for us.
should know that I'm sitting here on the opposite side of the planet, happily in Northern Thailand, where I've lived for the past 17 years or so. And you guys are over there in Ravenland, Baltimore.
Ravenland,
and, yeah, I mean,
17 years over there, huh? So you're like a local now.
Yeah, if I get 50% of what is happening, I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah.
So
wait, over here? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on with you guys. I'm Canadian born and U.S. citizen, lived around the world. Before Thailand here, I lived 30 years, Malibu, Santa Monica, SoCal on the coast.
Okay.
I'm from the other California, Bay Area.
Yeah, I made the mistake because I watched a bit of you guys just to see what trouble I was going to get into.
Oh, no.
And I made the mistake of thinking that you were, up in and around Marin, the Bay, or Santa Cruz or something. And then I looked at the time and I thought, no, this is really not happening. But
No. We have talked about that area quite a bit. I said, I'm from actually not too far from there, so
I got it. Yeah.
So
a lot of West Coast
ghosts,
guests too. It's
we
very
have had
weird.
a bunch of West Coast,
and ghosts. You're right. I mean,
we've done a couple of those episodes.
Yeah, we've had a ghost hunter.
Garnet, if it goes there, that'd be kind of cool. But we're not forcing this conversation.
Hey, let's roll. I don't know. Where
so
we
you're
going?
kind of all over the place. What drive are you? Do you just get bored in places after a decade or a few, and you just move on, or
no? On any given day, I'll make up a different story. But
okay, cool. What's the story today?
I just knew I wasn't going to be a farm boy. I'm a bit older than you guys. I entered university in the late 60s, and there was a lot happening. If you heard about it, it's all true. And from my pivot point, especially North American, because I kind of blend them, 1968 was the turning point in a shift away from trusting authority. And so when you're stepping foot in university, away from your family, first one in my family to go to university, at that time, it really set the course for me and I very much like the Irreverent Health angle, that I pretty much got into the game as an outsider, French, English province across from Detroit. And, everybody was either a farmer, a factory worker, or a fireman. So, when you're pressing my face up to the TV screen of professionalism and urbanism, I just found myself on the outside. And so I've spent my life in that outer ring of conventional society. And now it's done a backflip, and what used to be on the outside's on the inside. So I turned out to be a winner. What do you know? Yeah,
it's so funny. 68 and then getting into what you're doing now. Does it feel like a full circle? Like, I know you said you feel like you're stepping back in, or
yeah, the whole biohacker thing to me is like a rough sequel to the human potential movement.
Rough sequel. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, for me, let's stick our tongue out a little bit. I have a lot of respect for just about everything that's happening that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the danger is kind of a social media, technically advanced narcissism. And,
it's funny, when I first put my first website up for myself, you have to pick a tagline in WordPress, and it was a narcissist take on boredom. And I was like, that's really all this is. Because I'm like sitting there trying to justify doing it because everyone in the world's doing it. I'm like, what fucking narcissist does this? And I'm like,
God, and that's my biggest complaint about the whole thing. It's like, you only put up your highlight reels. Even when you have a bad time, it's canned and staged. It's oh God.
I just realized all three of us are wearing headphones. Well, thank you. I'm very much appreciative of the fact that you went styling just for me.
Yeah. Tom still threatens to get us the shirts, but he hasn't gotten them yet.
I haven't gotten them yet. Consummate fucking professionals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
That'll be our uniform.
On the spin of things, the biohacker, of course, there's a lot happening. And I had an interesting invitation, and where we are. A couple of months ago, May, I ended up doing a TEDx talk in Berlin.
Oh,
and
wow.
Cool.
it was very cool. And I've done a lot of stage stuff. I'm pretty comfortable talking and a lot of conferences and that kind of thing. And I admire the whole TEDx vibe. It's different. Nobody's up there selling, popcorn or whatever it is that everybody wants to buy these days. And it was respectful. The idea, it was, socially sensitive, intellectually, up there. A lot of good people packed into a pretty short period of time. I think it's just a great opportunity. I mean, if you guys ever have the chance, somebody says, would you, jump on, maybe you've already done it. I don't know.
I wish.
That would be cool. We actually got to spend the day with Richard Saul Werman, who invented TED Talk, in a group, which is in a group that Tom and I actually met each other in years ago.
Okay.
And I think there was one event, and then he had like a weekend, kind of like whole day thing. Very
cool
interesting.
Concept.
Very cool concept.
So listen,
it's funny.
We'll talk about what I do, but give me 10 words or less. Why do you guys do this together? What's the gig here? What's the?
That's actually a funny story. I think
Matt can do it. Matt.
No, it's easy. That group that we were just talking about, literally, one of the women who kind of, I guess she
was like the right hand man.
Yeah, she sort of proctored
the founder of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she goes, man, I love that you guys get into these conversations, but I need like a pause button so I can go Google half the shit you're talking about. And she's like, you should record it. And we're like, yeah. What is that, a podcast? Like,
and then COVID hit, and guess what? We had all this time. Yeah.
And we were like, hey, maybe we should record it. And then, we did everything. If we ever actually did like a movie on this journey one day, like we made we could do the montage, the training montage really easily. We did like 5 versions of our first show. We
re-recorded that one so many times.
You can kind of pull a little Beavis Butthead kind of a thing,
It definitely was that in the early days. And even trying to find our voice, we tried to do these hyper-medical ones where we were just like talking about studies. And it was so boring. And I think, the whole reason, like Matt and I came into the group around the same time, and we, because we were both like, what the hell's going on here? And we were kind of sitting in the back, and we started talking, and people would come over and go, oh, that's kind of cool, so that's kind of what happened. But we recorded like 50 before we even released one.
Yeah, wow. we had I think 49 of them, or like right around 50 really, before we
should release like a series of bloopers. That would be great.
I know we actually have
just
a
leave
couple.
Them in.
We just leave them in, really. Yeah.
Oh, so this is a setup, right?
Well, I will tell you though, we did come about it as honestly as two people could come about it. I mean, I think where we're at now is sort of like the statue of David we had to chisel away marble to get to, kind of thing, like I
wow.
Listen,
you mentioned narcissism before, Garnet.
This is what we really should have been doing in the first place and didn't know it, right? Like it's just we just need to have this is our David, let's put it that way, right? It's like two guys having a very candid conversation, no pre-canned questions, no pre-canned expectations,
beautiful.
And the studies are great. And listen, Tom and I can hold our own in a science talk. Actually, I know this is perhaps a bridge or a pre-bridge to what you're doing, but like we actually had Dr. Martin Moore-Eid on, who actually codified the circadian rhythm back in the 80s. What was that at Harvard?
Found the part of the brain. 10,000 studies on light pollution.
Yeah.
Crazy
and so
stuff.
like he goes real deep, and that was a fun conversation, but like mostly it was like, hey, what the hell made you want to talk about circadian rhythm? Like, you know, like, I mean, and
what
that
is it
was
about
really,
you know?
yeah, that's the real story.
Well,
with
you know,
people.
on the TED thing, to the point that, you know, I didn't know this when they invited me. I thought, okay, I can talk, blah, blah. Then they said, okay, and we're assigning you a coach, speech coach, and you're going to have
give
10.
You a coach too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that they give you, they assign you. And it's like, well, okay. And it's 10 sessions, generally speaking, about an hour each. And, you know, I've been mostly on like the teacher side of things. And I found myself a student, and it was fantastic.
That's cool, man.
If you just want to jump in the deep end, do it. And one of the things that this guy, Nicky, great guy, plug if he hears this, that I'm making a generalization here, but that the talks that have been the most successful, probably meaning they've been watched most often, have a couple of characteristics, but the key characteristic is that they tend to involve personal stories. The fact teller presentations are a bit of a yawner. Yeah. And, you know, I'm a shy guy. I like to hide behind headphones and glasses. And the idea of weaving my life story into this presentation, it was called How to Unstick a Stuck Brain. So I was all ready to go up there with, you know, with my guns blazing with the sciencey stuff and all. And he said, nah, let's not do that. So what I'm saying is the vibe I get from you guys, the personalized storytelling is the human vibe, and I think it works. So, you know, kudos and well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I think we really agree. And it's funny, Tom and I's, you know, raison d'etre to do this was all the stuff we knew about, which we burned through in the first like 8 episodes. So like, it
was like, this topic list is going to get short.
Yeah. So, but by like episode 30 or 40, we're like, shit, man, is there any end to what health, you know, irreverent just means we can, you know, say fuck.
And health is like, kind of the box we put stuff in, but God, near-death experiences and God, anything we can talk about that's out there.
My file cabinet is called Life on Earth. And just about everything goes there.
Right. Yeah. And you know, like everything kind of ends up being health, right? Like as long as you're taking oxygen, you're kind of involved in health, right? Like, I mean, it depends on, you know.
The option is, right. So I mean, it's, talk about.
You know, so yeah, it is cool. So like, you know, you went, I'd love to hear a little bit about how you got to what you did here. Actually, speaking of stories, like
was it in Thailand you started this? Was it, you know?
Okay.
We lost it.
Now, all right, it all started in 1970.
Yeah.
Well, 68. But anyway, okay.
I mean, I mean, I didn't mean to lose you there. You look like the light went out on you.
Oh, God, this is such a long story. No, it's okay. Long format podcast.
No, it's like which version is going to fit with these guys. So, okay, the truth is, I don't know, call it the sacred. I'll take a risk there, depending on what that means. That's always been my primary appetite. That specialness, the sacred thing, call it whatever. And so, like, how do you get it? I was raised, you know, Roman Catholic. I was an altar boy, you know, chanting in Latin, and, you know, the churches out in the middle of the fields.
They taught you Latin then? Ooh.
Well, yeah. I mean, I ended up 5 years Latin. I could read, write, and translate Latin. Like, that's not that useful. But, okay, so the point being, the there has always been there for me. But, like, what is the there, and how do you do it? And it turns out to align with health very well. So, 68, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. What do you do with the best new music, the birth control pill, and LSD? You know, what do you think's going to happen? And
it's never been broken down like that for me. I like that version of the summer free love right there.
Well, you know, that, and you've left your family home. You're in university. You have all these new friends, and you know, it's the Vietnam War, you know, desegregation, free speech, women's rights, gay rights. And it was a time.
It was all happening. Yeah.
It was all happening. And it's at that same time, along with the psychedelics, that there was the first waves of Asian mysticism, and it all just seemed to be happening, to choose the word of the time. It was a happening. So that encouraged me to pursue, let's call it consciousness or being human. And it just dovetailed right into health and well-being. I did my, the week after I graduated, somehow I got a degree. I don't know how that happened.
What was the degree in, Garnet? I feel like it's such a mundane point, but
well, okay, it was psychology.
Okay.
Well, almost, because I had one more class to get my degree, and it was statistics. Unfortunately,
and you said nothing is worth taking a statistics class, so I'm fucking bailing on it.
That meant I had to go to class. Up until that point, I could pass every class without going to class. So I decided the wise thing, the obvious thing was, well, I'm just going to declare a whole new major. So I ended.
If it was down to declaring a new major or taking a statistics class, you made the right decision.
That's hysterical,
of course.
Though.
I mean, come on, so I ended up with English literature, which meant, like slam dunk. But anyway, and then I did other,
Your parents must have said, "Oh, he's so employable. This is great."
No, they didn't. They didn't know what was going on. I mean, they're dear people, but nobody had ever gone to university in my family. So,
you kind of had a little bit of wiggle room there. Yeah. I
was, that guy. So, okay, many other things, but then I ended up living in Isfahan, Iran. From southern Ontario, having never gone anywhere, to Isfahan, Iran. That's a thing. And I did my last hit of acid on the rooftop, over the minarets and things, and decided that I wanted to go to go yogic, So a year later, I'm in Northern India.
That was such a fucking, that's such an image that you just fucking glossed over.
Let me just say 10 really crazy things.
LSD in Iran is kind of one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Well, listen, okay, it was the times. This is 71. So, all the Peace Corps guys were there teaching, the Persians how to repair war surplus Jeeps because the Shah was still in power.
Yeah.
But they lived in this villa with the most gorgeous carpets you could. I mean, this is like Isfahan, the home of the Persian carpet. Hello. And it's like, come on, you're Peace Corps guys. Well, they were running the hashish trade from Afghanistan into Greece at the time. So, the Jeeps were just like transport vehicles. And it's, it's a little painting a little Ken Kesey here, but it really was a lot happening. It was a turbulent time here. So, all like the British consulate guys, they're all into Gurdjieff and opium addicts. So, it was a time where consciousness was like volcanically coming up into your face. And, the the concept of a counterculture. What the hell is a counterculture mean? And it was the birth of naturalism, organic, meditation, alternative healthcare. All these things were just popping up like mushrooms, literally. After the rain. So I get a momentum that is, I'm still riding that wave to this day because of the surge of, hey, we got to have a better look we can't just swallow the pill of what's happening. And so, spiritual, I had a guru in India, ashrams, did, very seriously 10 years or so. And then another 10 years with a Korean Taoist teacher. It was this number one student thing. And then the last 30 years studying, he passed away now, but studying under a Tibetan Dzogchen teacher. So, this is really, really, really important to me. It's the only shit that makes sense. Otherwise, it's, I won't say what the alternative is, but you see it all over the place. So, and healthcare, and, I did a lot of body work. I did a lot of biofeedback. I did, Chinese medicine, all those things have been me on the outside, on the fringe. As I said, the outsider thing. I wasn't born into the nest of a corporate family, doctors, lawyers. I didn't know any of that. My dear parents, I went to university, we were a working family. We're not poor, but we worked all the time. And they're very good people. I never had one conversation with them about how to pay for university. No, it just never came up. The concept was if you want a car, you go work, you save up money, then you buy the car. And they assumed it was something like that. And I'll skip all the other stories. However, the issue to me of consciousness and well-being is just getting more and more and more obvious and demanding. We're kind of in a shitstorm, I believe, psychologically and culturally. So at a certain point, I found out that I had a talent for theoretical design. I'm quite a good systems designer, and I began to design different, somewhat exotic devices. I worked with, Russian groups, and this one Russian technology, the scanner, a neuroadaptive feedback device, got picked up by an American firm in contract, and I was signed on as a consultant to the American team, and I think I was called medical advisor or something. I forget. They didn't know what to call. But in the business, in the American business, I was called the weird shit consultant because they used to do implantable spinal cord stimulators, and now they're doing this Russian stuff and things. It was all weird shit for them, but now it's all red light therapy, pulse magnetics, microcurrent. That's all the stuff that I gravitated towards because it was fringe, and here it is. So here I am now, oddly, wonderfully, living here in Northern Thailand, and developing this device called the Neurovisor, which is a light sound cranial stimulation device. And I have a lot to say about that, but that's not really the point. The point being that I really grew up conservative and a traditionalist, but then was kind of not forced, but out on the outer rings of Saturn. And then now I'm finding that a lot of the stuff that was always on the outside turns out to be really valuable to a lot of the core community right now. So I
Garnet,
yeah,
this is one of the things, because like you were there, and it sounds like around when my parents were there. And this whole...
How old are you? What? Let's put some calendar on this.
Matt, you're 49. I'm 48.
49. Okay, 49. 48. I'm 75.
Okay, yeah, and that's I think my dad's
75 years old.
And you're fucking killing it.
You look ridiculous. I wouldn't have guessed that if you had a gun to my head.
It is so weird to me
that get one.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You look amazing. Like, I mean, there's no way.
It's
well, thank you.
When we hear about the 60s, I feel like there was this. At some point, everybody went and got jobs. Like, and you didn't, which I like. That you kind of kept living that lifestyle when everybody else just was like, okay, now I'm going to go make it impossible for anybody under 50 to buy a house.
So here's the funny thing, that I did that and here and there, and Iran and India, and then ended up with a young wife, baby, and in Toronto, in TO, and was teaching at a college, and my friends all declared me certifiably insane because I decided to go back to school when we had no money. And what did I do? I went back to the Canadian College of Massage and Hydrotherapy in like 75.
Wow.
I had my nose up into the wind, and I'll glorify a little bit, speaking of narcissism, that I felt that what we call the spa thing was coming. It was nowhere at the time. It was zero. And I said, no, wellness, body work, hydrotherapy, remedial exercise. So I went to the best college I could find. I was in school all day. I worked nighttime construction in the malls because it was winter in Toronto. And, pinching pennies, man. But it played out. It played out because I ended up a U.S. citizen because I was able to co-create a very successful school of bodywork and spa and massage therapy in California, the longest living school there. And because it's happening, I did the first with a business partner. I did the first day spa in LA in the late 80s. We didn't even know what to call it. There's no day spa, urban spa, all this whole thing. For this.
Yeah.
There was just like, what is this thing? So, we rented the ground floor of a medical building because we made up a fictitious name that sounded like a law firm because there was just no profile that was positive. And, so, I, again, raised a farm boy. I was taught that to get all the milk, you had to milk all 4 tits of the cow, which may sound crude, but it's absolutely the truth.
I think that should be our T-shirt, honestly.
Yeah. So like, what does it mean? What do I mean by that is a person has a fundamental skill set, an interest, an ability. So don't just milk one tit of that. So be a practitioner, be a teacher, be a consultant, create business. There happen to be 4 things, there are probably more, but all of these things come from one core perception. Now, I don't know what you guys do. You use the word clinic, Tom. Maybe, I don't know. I'm
an acupuncturist, actually. Yeah, I've been in acupuncture for 25 years. Yeah.
Well, California Acupuncture College. I also went there back.
Yeah. Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah. And, you know, so, even my best friends, and I have some, by the way, don't know how to describe what I do. And to me, that's good. I have a 21-year-old beautiful spa in downtown Bangkok. And here I am up in, and doing this thing. This is maybe my bio. Hopefully it's not weird. But, I do wild animal conservation work with primates. I love that. We've just started a distillery, agar oil wood oud distillery on my mountain land. We've got about 23 acres of virgin rainforest hidden on a mountain stream in a big house, and that's the thing about Asia for me is it's really been the land of opportunity. As I mentioned, I live, 30 years SoCal. I could never have anything happening like I have here. Yeah. In Thailand. And,
23 acres in LA, I'll set you back up $1 billion.
I'm hearing your story and I want a do-over, man. I feel like.
Well, okay. I moved to Thailand at around 56 years old. I shut down. This is being recorded, a little freaky. Okay. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a prerequisite of doing a show, man. We got to record it, So.
Come not listen to the episode about Neurovisor.
This is about Neurovisor. I forgot. Let's make sure
we still have like a half an hour, man. We'll get there.
Okay. But it's I don't know what it is, but sometimes I'm kind of making this up, but this is a good hook going to Neurovisor. It's about change. That there are times when things change. Yeah. And nothing stays the same, more or less, but then sometimes, there are phasic changes, which is typical of biology and nature. And when you feel like, I felt, I'll make it like dramatic, but I felt like if I kept on doing what I was doing, I had the choice in front of me. I was either going to go off the cliff or hit the brick wall.
That makes sense.
And neither one seemed like a good option. So I thought, well, guess what? I'm going to pull the plug, end this, end. At around, mid-50s, I got enough gas in the tank and go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. And why am I even? Well, I guess, it's storytelling. I don't know you guys. You're really easy to hang with. You know how to be cool and comfortable, so it's just kind of a story.
Well, you know what I like.
Sure,
you know what I like
I've
about
got
it.
Underlying anxiety, like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. But I'm trying not to project that right now.
You know what I like about your story, though, and we talked about sort of, I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about sort of like an average of observations, right? And when I look around at, so I do technology for a living for a long time, right? Cool. So we build these systems for people and whatnot. And I've dealt with really smart people, really not so smart people, everybody in between. And like, when I look at like the really successful people, what they do, aside from having a passion for it, like they have this sort of ability to squint around the world and see sort of like where people are likely to go, because human behavior, I think at its core, is not wholly unpredictable, right? So this show,
unfortunately, we're very average. I used to think
we're not that complex, right? And like when you said, hey, in the 70s I went to like massage school because it, you know, whatever. Listen, I didn't do that, but I still could look around and be like, hey, you know what? This feels like something a lot of people would probably do. And like Tom and I even do in the show, it's like, you know what? Everyone I know has no fucking idea about any of this stuff at all, not even at a rudimentary level, right? So for me, it was sort of an easy thing. Call it a business plan, if you will, but it was certainly not that. But it was like, oh, let's just bring cool stories to people and like kind of shine some light on some stuff that people would never fucking do on their own. And it was super easy. Things like PEMF, you mentioned that. I got off my Beamer mat literally 30 seconds before I came onto the show, right? Like, you know,
and we both have red light panels.
And my red light panels
within arm's
literally
reach.
Right behind this wall behind me, right? Like, so, I mean, but it's not because like I was trying to be trendy, but like, it was like, oh,
that makes sense.
This makes sense. Like at a human level,
obvious. It's
like
point,
so
it's just obvious.
Well, yeah, but I also feel like it has that in very much the same way that probably how you got where you are. All the things lined up. Oh, you started hearing more research about it. Oh, you know what? This is cost effective. Oh, look. You know, not only can I have one in an office somewhere and go to do that, but like they've come down enough to hang one on the back of my door. You know,
I had a situation just this week on our WhatsApp group, right? What did I post this like Monday or Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Work is a little stressy right now. Personal is a little stressy right now. Everything's just a little stressy right now. So what did I do? I just went to what I know works. I pulled out my Sensate, which we had him on the show as well. Put it around my neck. Put my Muse headband on and looked at my average. And my average.
Tom, no dildos, man.
We have that too. We've had a couple of those people.
We've had a couple of those people on too. So I go there and I look at my graph for like the trailing 2 weeks, and it's like around alpha peaks around like 9, 8.9, 9.1. Throw on the Sensate for 2 days and do some tapping, some EFT work that I know works, and it just relates. All of a sudden, my alpha peaks was 11.4 this morning. It like fucking skyrocketed, right? And I'm like, and I feel better. Now, who the fuck doesn't want to feel better? At a minimum, forget about alpha peak and fucking PMF.
You're an alpha addict. I got it. I can see it.
Like, who cares about any of that stuff? I just feel better.
Well, the Sensei guy is like, you fucking biohackers.
Yeah.
He literally said that. Of course you did. And I'm like, I don't like that term biohacker. And he's like, that's what you're doing. Listen, I hear it. Yeah, I hear it. But like when I saw Neurovisor for the first time, I was like, how do we get this guy on our show? Because this is like, it's so cool. We just want to, we want to play with that space. And we had somebody that was talking about the Lucia or whatever it is. It's like,
Lucia.
It's a ridiculously expensive light, and that's not so accessible for everyone.
Okay, well, you're dangling salmon in front of the bear here, so
that was the hope.
That was the hope. You picked up on that, did you? Right?
Well, I don't look as dumb as I am. Or no, that's not right. So there's a lot happening in neuroscience. And Flickr, I'll send you guys an article if you want. I write a lot.
Definitely.
The neuroscience of flickering light. I went real deep on it, and I think you'd find it cool. It's not difficult to make an instrument, whether it sits out here and it's giant, or it's more difficult to put it on your head, wearables. But to me, like a piano. Okay, a piano. You can have a Steinway, a grand piano. You can have a little upright, or you can have a child's toy piano, and that's what flickering light devices are like. They're objects. They're devices that have the potential to create and deliver signals. So once you get over the romance of what piano you have, more importantly is what music are you playing? Because you can sound like a drunken chimpanzee, which is what I would sound like if I tried, or you can have, Thelonious Monk. So right now, there is a bold lack of understanding as to what information is being communicated with pulse sound and flickering light. So it is not, I was working with this stuff in mid-85, Santa Monica, and there are a lot of folks, and it's not a complaint, it's just a fact, that are still working fundamentally in brain entrainment, frequency following responses.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it's real, it's good, but not for much. We thought it was a lot more important. We thought biofeedback and brain entrainment and, we thought it was going to change everything, education, meditation, health, everything, and it didn't. Okay, then you've got let's scramble some eggs. It's really easy with sound and light to create dissociation, a kind of a light and sound ketamine that, the brain wants to find patterns. It wants predictability. And you just kind of, since you already jumped in the water, Matt, you just kind of fuck around, to use the term, right?
Yeah.
And for a lot
That's
of
the medical term, right? That's the
medical
scientific.
It's called fucosis in Latin.
Yeah.
Anyway, that so much, we have a lot of suffering. We feel a lot of shit we don't want to feel, and anything that dissociates you from your experience can feel relieving, because it's better than feeling bad. Feeling nothing feels like something.
Sure.
But it's actually not something. It's just the absence of your suffering. So you can do just, any kind of flickering light and any kind of music and just, Celtic harps and whatever it is. And the brain will try to figure out, the brain is going to, pareidolia, it's going to try to imagine something here. And that dissociation where the subject becomes an object feels good. It's like, oh, this is cool. The problem is that practicing that dissociation, and I could tell you, we won't have time, but if we had time, I could tell you a lot of stories that the ketamine type, as a chemical, but you can do it biophysically. You don't need biochemicals to dissociate. So that you can create dissociation really easily by having a disconcerting, signal poor cacophony of things, and basically the brain says, oh, fuck it, and it backs up. The problem is that it not only moves you away from the pain, it also moves you away from the pleasure. And that's what happens, like with people that are abused and so on, is that to escape the pain, they dissociate from their experience. Well, it shuts down the pain, but it also shuts down the pleasure. And so out there with devices, and I won't name names, but you've got these two major categories where you've got kind of, give me a break, it's brain entrainment, stop saying it's all this other stuff. And then you've got dissociating randomnicity.
I think I own at least one of both of those devices.
I'll rent mine to you to get some cash back. But anyway, so what I'm trying to do here, I made up a name. It's called brain engagement. And I went into the hardcore neuroplastic neurodynamics in the brain. And using predictive brain coding and Frist and free energy and entropic brain theory, hormesis, all these things that I just love and I talk about all the time, but most people don't want to hear it. But there is rock solid behavior in neuroscience now that is neither one of those two categories. Peak alpha, I'm sorry, I hug you, Matt, but, peak alpha is not all that it's chimed
it
up
was
to
simply
me.
a measurement that I have access to. It wasn't necessarily
I know
meant
Muse
to
has got a
imply
big hard on with that, and I know, but that's okay. Anyway, so the there is so much happening right now. And, I mean, acupuncture, the hormesis process or Hebbian learning, that there are these ways that are very predictable methodologically to get the brain's attention. You enter in some marginal demand, you do some kind of destabilization, some reward, some challenge, some reinforcement. And I tell you, it was maybe about a year ago, it didn't happen in one day, but let's pretend it did because it sounds cool. But I was working through the neurology, all again of neuroplastic domains. There's so much information there. Fortunately, because I'm a splatter learner, I'm comfortable jumping into different modalities and disciplines. Anyway, I'm there, and I go, holy shit, the neuroplastic process is what is expressed in the hero's journey. The hero's journey is the neuroplastic process. And it made sense to me. Well, of course, the proto-myth, the proto-story, the proto-psychology has to be built on the proto-neurology. The way we process information neurologically reflects up into the psychology, reflects back up into the mythic process. And I got Tom got a punch in the nose on that one. Tom?
That was fucking heavy, man.
It's
that
heavy
might have been
for 7:45
in the morning. Yeah.
yeah.
Damn, dude. But that is, God, because looking at religion and all of that, right? If they're all just parables, if they're all just lessons, if they're all just examples of, I mean, I know you studied with Taoists, that internal cosmos.
Hey,
holy shit, man!
Listen, the brain doesn't get more cosmic. David
Holy
Bohm,
fucking shit.
Matter is not matter. So once you realize that, although we call the brain physical, there's nothing physical about it.
I got like 12 patients today, man. I this it's gonna be a weird fucking day.
Well, welcome to my world. But
dude, I'm about to ask you to be my guru at this point.
Okay. Well, at your own risk. I'm not that, but I'm not that expensive, so don't worry. But this is my game. That let's roll it around a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different designs in the Neurovisor sessions. I did the light and sound neurodosing. I did the whole Hebbian deconstruction of microdosing, and you can microdose very successfully with light and sound. And if you want to stack something on it, you can.
That's wild.
But the point being that every Neurovisor session, more or less, is a 11-minute hero's journey.
Wow.
Because that is the template of learning and dynamic change. That's what it is, and it doesn't much matter. Okay, I'll say this. I mean, you can groove on this. That groove. Well, there's 67. That all psychedelic compounds are psychoactive agents, but not all psychoactive agents are psychedelic compounds.
Right.
Okay.
So the brain has an innate high-entropy, psychedelic, call it what you want, capacity. It's supposed to. I don't like the term non-ordinary. I say ordinary and extraordinary, because the entropic state is ordinary, meaning that it's normal and natural and healthy. We are supposed to visit it periodically, however you get there. To me, one of the most fascinating psychoactive agents of all is humor.
Yeah.
The benign violation of expectation. Benign violation of expectation. It throws you off. It's a predictive error, to go first in free energy. It's a predictive error. And brain signal variability, which is one of my core principles, brain signal variability rockets up. And, if you're laughing your ass off, you're tripping. You're tripping.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I mean, you're as mad as the Hatter in that height of humor. That's why it's so fucking healing, because it moves us out of stability periodically up into flexibility, the hero's journey. It's not the underworld, it's the unconscious. And then we come back into the consciousness again, with the treasure and the sword for the, to benefit humanity. Stand-up comedy is amazing for mind health because of that, because to me it's psychedelic in the sense that, so I'm a talker. You guys got to jump in and push me
listen,
around.
No, man, we're digging on this. This is really fucking us up.
So you know what? I'm curious here. Like,
sure,
you're touching on something that I've sort of had a feeling about, but never had like words to articulate. But like,
I saw it in your eyes. What's going on?
There's a lot. So I've done things like shamanic breathing. We've talked about this on the show a couple of times. The most intense trip I've ever had was in a shamanic breathing session that was like fucking like otherworldly. Yep. And it was sort of interesting because I'm like, I'm just laying on a floor, breathing in a weird way, and I'm like tripping balls, like it was crazy.
Yep.
But you're right. I don't know that I would have said, psychedelic experience, but I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy, and it does really transport you in a way that is sort of, I didn't have words for it before right now, but it is an interesting corollary to draw between those two things. Is there other things? I mean, you have primate, conservation, and like, when I'm down in Costa Rica, I have a house down there, and I'm in the rainforest. Like, that's also very transportive, right? Like, you kind of taking a night hike in a rainforest in Costa Rica. You're on another fucking planet, man. Like, physically, mentally, like, it's not nothing's. The sounds, the rustling, everything.
Okay. Can I hit you guys with an analogy, knowing that there's a little bit of a tick-tock happening? Let's agree that our brains. Analogy here, our brain is a 20-story building. Okay,
I'm with you.
Every floor has a purpose. It's your brain, and there's an elevator that can go up and down. There's also a stairway, but that's a lot of huff and puff and not so fast. But there is an elevator. The lower floors, and I'll make it like syncretic here. The lower floors are dedicated to stability, predictability, pattern recognition, embedded learning, things that you've accumulated that are valuable over time. And that's what those, and it's an analogy, that there are degrees, floor 1, 2, 3, 4. The upper floors are dedicated to flexibility, dynamism, exploration, surprise, humor, ayahuasca, whatever it is. The upper floors have a very flat energy plateau, so there's a lot of connectivity that can go on. Alpha suppression, but anyway, so
that was a don't keep trying to raise that alpha peak.
I'll say it 12 different ways before we leave.
Okay, so here, that's our brain, and kind of my hook is a brain that can change. When change is required, that's a healthy brain.
Makes sense.
Okay, so there's no ideal state. This bullshit about frequencies, like, we're just moving the magic pill, active ingredient chemical process over into physics. This thing of, the frequencies as we describe them, these are mathematical lies of convenience. We're templating algorithms over extremely complex behavior. There is no 40 hertz. Maybe once in a million there's 40 hertz. You think every brain frequency is an integer, is a nice round number? That's very convenient. It's like how many decimal points are we throwing away? Because it's too complicated. So, 40.76662, 40.73, 39.7. Fuck it, algorithm. Let's just call that 40. So,
right.
Anyway.
Well, it's funny because we do that in physics too, right? Planck's constant isn't exactly, constant. And
this is the problem, that we are still transplanting mechanical physics into biological organisms. And I'm sorry, it doesn't work. And we can talk about heart rate variability. Anyway, so let's go back to the building. So that's your building. And every floor is natural and normal. Why you go there is purpose-driven. And you've got one floor that when you're not in any kind of task retrieval mode or action mode, that's your bedroom, that's your what floor is your apartment in the 20-story building? Remember, it's an analogy.
Was that a hypothetical? That I'm supposed to say 10?
If you want, do you choose 10? I don't know.
If those are the options, I think I try to be in the penthouse as much as possible. Right, like I like to be at the very top.
What happened? Tom just took.
It's totally fine. Yeah, just keep going. He'll come back.
All right.
Riverside stitches it all together.
As an analogy, no, you don't want to be in the penthouse too much. You'll go fucking wacko. Although you do want to go to the penthouse because that's where the stories are. It's like I'm home alone all of a sudden. Have you all left me? Hello. I'll wait for you. Hello.
And we're back.
You're back. Okay.
Yeah. See, sorry about that. That has never happened in the entire time we've used this platform.
Right?
So.
Well, you see, I don't know. That's Tom's anxiety.
It's Tom's anxiety, yeah. Okay. So I could respect not living in the penthouse. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. That probably makes a lot more sense.
No. Okay. As an analogy, what's called the sweet spot of criticality. There's this gorgeous terminology going on, connectome harmonics and all these things. So your apartment, if you're good and healthy, is probably around the 15th floor.
Okay.
You're on floor 15. Is Tom hearing this, or he's by?
Yeah, he'll come back. Just keep going.
Cool.
Yeah.
So why on the 15th floor? Because in quick adaptive responses, we have to be able to open up and be flexible and inventive very quickly because of the way life can be. But if we want to downturn, brain signal variability down, calm down, go into learned processes, normally that is a more temporal sequential shift. So we need to be up higher in flexibility and response, because otherwise we're dead. Survival oftentimes requires quick responses. So, and here's some terminology. Don't mistake the terminology as being pathology, although the terms are transported into pathology. This is like the shell game where you keep on shifting around. Okay, yeah. So, the very bottom of this 20-story building, this is described as autistic. Now, I'm not saying autism, but it is a term. It's called autistic because it has very little variability, high repetition. It tends to be negatively rigid. If you go down too long and you're saying there too much. The upper floors and the very top is schizotypic. Yeah, like schizophrenia, but schizo meaning volatile, quickly making connections and false connections and that kind of process. So we have extremes of autistic and schizotypic, of rigidity and volatility. Neither one of those are where we are supposed to spend a lot of our time. Those are extremes. So the lower floors, like 1 through 7, that's, riding a bicycle. Those are extremely important, learned and predictable and reliable patterns of behavior. We'd be insane if we didn't have them. However, they can easily go out of efficiency, and where they need to be modified, they need to be changed, meaning habits. So that's why we need to get in the elevator and go to the higher floors, whether you laugh your ass off or use a Neurovisor or do some holotropic breathing or you hit some mushrooms or whatever it is, great sex, whatever, that the high floors tend to be really high energy states, high energy consumption. We don't do well staying there too long.
Right.
Okay. But we need to go there. The person, he's a massive hero in the community, but he said, like, every night when we dream, we all become shamans. So that we need that. And what I've seen out of neurofeedback and the work that I do, and this is not my research, it's well known, that the tendency to habituate is understandable, but can reach a point where it starts to become restrictive. And you can see this in aging quite well. Guys can see this, kind of looks like
looks like a curve.
This is recent out of MIT. On this side, this is birth, and this is like 90 years old. And this tracks the 6 executive functions in terms of brain signal variability. So we get better and better and better. And unless you do something about it, guess what? You hit your peak at around about 45.
Fuck.
You stole the words right out of my mouth. You stole the question right out of my mouth. I'm like, can you buck that curve? Is that buckable?
Yes. Yes. That's the hero's journey.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you don't go on the journey, guess what? It's all downhill skiing.
It's all downhill. That's like a double black diamond hill.
This is like 4 months ago, MIT tracking 6 executive functions. There are 2 basic kinds of changes that a brain, I'll say yours or mine, we need to make. And if we can't make these 2 kinds of changes, none of the other things work well. You know, that's the Berlin thing that I did. It was called How to Unstick a Stuck Brain. And the thing is, there are lots of techniques, traditional and contemporary, that should work, but they don't work. Like, why does a technique that should work not work? It's because the assumption of the technique is the brain is able to change. The brain is able to respond to the stimulus. Well, a lot of us, guess what? We've had to move our apartment from floor 15 down to floor 11 and then down to floor 7. Life becomes more and more habituated, more and more restrictive. So the issue is recognize this stuckness that is habituation. It's safety, it's repetition. And that will tend to happen normally with conventional aging. And that rainbow thing, dementia, boom,
straight line down.
Dive.
Yeah.
You know, I just was reading a whole bunch of work, a bunch of attention is being paid to hearing loss, even in a minor situation, has led to Alzheimer's and dementia. And they think it's this, you were talking about it actually a little while ago about your brain filling in these gaps and looking
That's
for,
right. Yeah.
And so like they're thinking they don't, you might actually know a little bit more about this, but the studies that I've been reading, they're like, we don't really know why, but it feels like even a little bit of hearing loss sends your brain into this trajectory of dementia. Which,
well, you know,
and this feels like very much like this analogy of going to floor 10, 11, or, 9.
Well, 8. Yes. And so this, I'll say, this stuff, these theories, integrated methodology, systems theory, this is where I'm happy and comfortable in design principles. And this is the thing about the Neurovisor. I am not, here and there, some subset of brain entrainment is fine. Subset of destabilization and disassociation is fine. But it's in the context of a very neurologically predictable ebb and flow of information processes. I've got it broken down into 5 stages and 10 phases. And it's not because I'm a wizard that did it. It's just because I've tracked the neuroscience. Like, this is what worked. Like in sensory enrichment, which is a subset of environmental enrichment, they make these rooms for autistic kids or demented persons. And there are 5 things that you put together, and they are acting, in this case, it's passive. It's not a device. It's an environment based on sensory enrichment. So step number 1, you take 2 sensory sources and you combine them simultaneously. We're doing that right now with sight and sound. A lot of the time, what's being used is touch and smell. Right, with like autistic kids, they're using touch and smell. So you start off 2 senses simultaneous, when they combine, they create an unusual, uncommon experience. That it's like there's something provocative there. It's a prediction error in predictive coding. So two senses simultaneous, the creation of an unusual a sensory consciousness experience. There are no distractions to it. You're not being forced to do it. And the secret sauce, you enjoy it.
Mm.
Those five things, I mean, I could give you the rock hard neurology, you know, synaptic plasticity, all these things. It's all there. If anybody wants to go deep, it's all there. Now, if you take those five things, that's the Neurovisor.
Oh, interesting.
Two, overlap, unique subjective experience, free from distraction. You're not being forced, and you enjoy the shit out of it. So, you know, these things are actually clearly understandable when you lay it out in certain kinds of templates. Like I follow, you know, Bateson information theory. Information is news of change. Information is a difference that makes a difference. I actually got some fame in Russia because of a paper about that way back when. This principle of the dynamism of change, it's all about relationships. So all this stupid shit about what frequency are you using is like asking Hendrix, what note did you play? He's going to look at, well, he won't even look at you, actually. So it's the question of the relationship between stimulation state. It's the relationship between frequencies. That's music. Otherwise, it's a metronome, or a drum machine.
Yeah.
So, you know, this zone is, this is where I swim around. You know, this is what I do with the Neurovisor.
Well, it makes sense, but I guess
more.
No, I get it, but it makes sense. But I mean, look, especially when you're talking about product design, right? We could agree or observe that 40 is sort of a directional marker at best, right? Like, you know, but we also have to produce something to create that relationship, right? Like there needs to be a physical creation, and you have to call it something. And because it's a machine, it's going to be pretty fucking precise, right? Like, or at least, okay, so maybe
if it
not.
is your okay. There was no saxophone music before the saxophone instrument, so I'm right there with you. That technology and devices and delivery systems create new possibilities. Look at the early sound synthesizers with the MIDI board and so on. Oh, click, I'm going to make a violin, and you on your keyboard, you know, it sounds like a violin, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's all the humanization has taken place, right? Because there's no violin on the earth that plays perfect tone notes. There's resonance and distortion. So even in the software that I develop for what I do, I dirty up, I deviate, I can dirty up. So when it's 40, it's actually 40-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
And that makes it more biological. Otherwise,
wow, it's almost like you're talking biosynthetic, right? You're talking. It's such a weird thing to hear it in a frequency versus a compound.
Yeah, my whole thing is biosemiotics.
Yeah,
I'm into neurosemiotics. I mean, that's my game. And right now, many of the devices, in part including my visor as it evolves, it would be like me talking to you like this, hello, Matt, and hello, Tom. You understand what I'm saying because of the top-down psychological symbology of the words, but it sounds fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because there's no prosody in it. So this thing, you know, binaural this or the solfeggio, speaking of gun to your head, that's stupid shit. That it's not like that. Oh, no, okay, I'll take that back. It is like that, but that is not brain language. That is a dialect of brain language that leans too hard on symbology and not enough on signal richness. You know, it's the difference of you can simulate or you can stimulate. I do my best to stimulate and not simulate.
It's interesting. I've been in cannabis adjacent for 20 years or so, and
Sure.
One of the big sort of, I don't want to say gotchas, but one of the big sort of through a pharmacological lens, they don't like the unpredictability of cannabis, right? Like,
of course,
right, and it's always talk about one of those things where your intuition just says, well, of course that makes sense, right? Because it's a fucking plant.
Yeah.
like 2 seeds, same pot, same water, same light. It's not the same light. It's not the same water. You know what I mean? Like everything's, everything's a variable in that equation. And people who are actually interested in studying that don't care about that. In fact, the variability of that becomes part of the intrigue.
Come on. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Call it entourage, call it complexity, call it whatever you want. Right. Yeah. But okay, so that's my game.
The nature of it.
That's my domain is I'm trying to get the device process and the algorithmic processes to be more and more of a mirror of the brain to the brain. This is what's happening. I mean, frankly, what's happening, because I've got a lot of stuff that I'm doing that's not commercialized yet, what business is like.
Sure.
So it began as complex stimulation. And over time, it's moving. I mean, it's still stimulation, but now it's stimulation as communication. Well, wait a minute. It isn't, there's something I can just make sounds, but then I can start to make sounds that have words, and that you start to get a message. You start to get information. You don't just have stimulation. There's a transmission of information happening here. And I can already taste, I can see the sun over the horizon. It's becoming revelation, where
interesting.
That the truth is just exposing itself. Not to Elon with his Grok 5, but you grok it. It's a way of knowing without thinking. I go back to Highland, not Musk, right? That it's a way of knowing without thinking. So the stimulation is easy. Anybody can do it. But can you craft the stimulation to start to become a communication where there's an exchange of information going on here? And then can that information as revelation be knowledge? It's like, wow, I get it.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, that all makes sense, but I guess the immediate question I have is like, do you have sort of a Rosetta Stone, if you will, to sort of translate this, or are you operating on intuition? Like, how do you speak those words through these signals and get to that revelation? I mean, is there a linguistic template that you're following?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And my question is more practical. Like, how if I buy a Neurovisor now, will those future iterations be present as you upgrade?
Well, you buy another program or something. They'll give it to you for free.
Which is the fun part about frequency and our discovery as a species of frequency. It is highly portable through software.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is not it doesn't require necessarily new hardware.
Well, my business goal, and I'm a bruised amateur in business. That's why I have partners. But that, I'm aiming, the team, we're aiming to be a content creation company that happens to have hardware. I don't want to be a device company because we can make more and more, and it's fine. And we've got some other stuff coming. It's always better because you learn. But to me, it's the consciousness aspect. It comes down to the heart's desire for awakening. The challenge of suffering and the relief and the gratitude of healing. I mean, that's where it's at. And all this other stuff is, the peanut butter and jelly between the bread. But to me, that's where it's going. That's where it's got to go. That's the only thing I'm interested in. What I say privately that I'd never say, in a recording is, if it's not this, then it's just drugs and hookers, right? What? So
yeah.
What's the point? If it's not this, like, what do you do with your life?
Yeah.
You know,
no,
what's the point? What's the point?
Which is actually one of the benefits of this format that Tom and I stumbled into that I never could have predicted is it lets me just do that anytime we hit record, right? Like, and you know, there is a very psychedelic like adjacent, you know, frequency that I get into every time we're on one of these shows, because we get to like really dive in and lean in. Like, I mean, I'll take that elevator to the top floor, but to your point, it's in short bursts, right? Like we do an hour and change, and then we get to kind of take a break. Some days we've done 2 shows in a day, and it's like it's different, right? Like like I just came off of this. Now I gotta go back.
You're amped that long, man. You know, you started my day off with Hero's Journey, so it's going to be a
right,
Gonna be a high energy one.
But
that's
it is
the whole
neat.
point. I mean, the Hero's Journey, you go up, you know, in the elevator, but then you got to settle back down. You got to bring it back home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to the fucking circus. How many times you want to go to the circus? You know,
which is what drives me crazy about people and their fucking phones, right? Like they're outsourcing the potential to go up in this elevator to TikTok, or you know what I mean?
Well,
which is hypnotic and possibly psychedelic in a less productive way, and you know, because
it quickly turns into dissociation.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. As any parent with a child of the digital age could tell you, we call them phone zombies, right? Like, you know, you're like, hey, can you take out the trash? And they're like, there's nothing. You're like, what? Hello?
Well, it's the digital K-hole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's a great way of putting it. Although if I told that to my kids, they'd be like, what the fuck is a K-hole? Like,
Kellogg's Rice Krispies.
I'm sure they know what a K-hole is by now. I mean, it's the internet is everywhere.
Well, and it's also weird too, because these kids have like ketamine's like, I mean, you can get ketamine lollipops around, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I mean, nothing is hidden anymore, right? Like you can't, everything's out in the open, right?
Oh, man.
Spooky.
I gotta buy one of these Neurovisors now. I
could talk to you
like this was amazing, man.
Yeah, I could literally, I feel like if you'd be so kind to come back sometime, I feel like we could talk to you forever, man. But alas, we must hit stop eventually.
Of course, the answer is yes. You guys you're cool, you're real, you're comfortable, and you know, we need each other. Otherwise, it's like, you know, Waco, Texas gone wacko, which is one step away.
Yeah, I always get nervous about those guys, because that Waco to those guys seemed like a good idea to them. You know, I always have to kind of check myself, be like, are we doing the right? Are we in the right spot?
Well, you know, we won't go into it at all, but I'm a little freaked out. You know, with a bunch of things, so we'll skip it for some other time. Campfire talk. But
listen, we try to like allude to those things because we're not a show about that kind of stuff. But we're all feeling
we're spirits in the material world to
to just build on to what you just said. Like, if it's not this and these conversations and the work you're doing, the work Tom and I are doing, then it is that. And it's only that. And I see a lot of people in my life that it is only about that. And that is just really, aside from unproductive, it's from my definition of health, it's not healthy at all. You know, like
no.
You know,
so, okay. Well, all right.
Garnet, where do we send people, buddy? Yeah, let neurovisor.com.
VIZR, like, you know. So,
and I'll pick up all this neat stuff in there.
Yeah, it's cool. And you know, we'll talk more. If you guys ever want to do something, you know, then we can code you up, and people do something, then you might, you know, it doesn't hurt to get a little bit of cash, right?
Like have our own program is what you're talking about.
Well, no, yes, that, by the way, although I'd have to get a prescription from your psychiatrist first. But
they quit.
They quit. You win.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do more. I mean,
that sounds awesome.
Let's do more.
Garnet, it was awesome talking to you.
Oh, God, what a great day to start a fucking day, man.
Now I feel like our shirt should be Omnia Utilis Sunt, in honor of Garnet here to just.
Right. Okay, back off, boys, back off. I don't kiss on the first date,
No, I always like Latin because it makes people sound smart, even though it's just Latin.
I only like that one scene in Life of Brian when he's correcting the Latin graffiti.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Okay, Life of Brian.
All right, hey Garnet, stick around. We're gonna hit stop, but stick around, guys.
Man,
awesome, great way to kick off the day. So, all right, till next time.
Cool.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.